Live at the OpenStack Summit with me is Jim Gardner, who has been from HP. I'll introduce him in a little bit. And the first person we all see is Shiram, who's giving us a ton of feedback, so hopefully we can get this solved. Well, welcome, and it's the second day of the OpenStack Summit, and we've been busy doing a lot of stuff, whether it's HP or anyone else. But what I wanted to do is send it over to Shiram first. Shiram and I did a video yesterday that we posted up on YouTube that you may be interested in taking a look. And one of the things that we talked about was what were the 3 things he was looking for at the OpenStack Summit that he found the most interesting. And Shiram, did you want to go through that again, maybe? And also, maybe let us know what kind of things you've seen already? Let's see if he comes off microphone.
Yeah. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks. Yes, we did the video yesterday, and the 3 things that I'm looking for in this summit are enterprise workloads, real operator feedback, and the developer pain points. By these 3, what I mean are, we have been hearing about what kind of workloads we could run on OpenStack. Is it enterprise ready, and those kind of questions. And this summit being the Go Enterprise Team Summit, I'm really looking for what enterprise use cases we have had success running on OpenStack. What kind of enterprises that are doing that. It's not about can it scale, is it mature, and those kind of questions, but it's more about, hey, I have the really large OpenStack cloud running, what kind of workloads that I've had success with, and I would like to hear feedback from them, from the users. The second one is about operators, talking about their pain points. I was at their OpenStack meetup yesterday, and I'm going to be on Friday too, hearing about what their pain points are. And finally, the developer pain points. By developer pain points, what I mean is, how do you find good developer? How do you find good OpenStack developer? What are your pain points in getting started? What are the difficulties in getting trained? Thank you.
So thanks, Shiram, and I think that's good information. So let me also introduce Jim as we kind of get ourselves set up. So Jim Gardner is our product marketing manager for the HP Helion Community, HP Helion OpenStack Community Edition. The goal is to get the names as long as possible, and that was something we at HP announced last week. It's a complete OpenStack distribution, which is the big news from HP, and we're here at the summit, obviously showing everyone about it. And Jim, do you want to just kind of give maybe our listeners a quick overview of what it is? And before he does that, Raphael, I don't know, did we set up IRC in case people had questions? I forgot to ask you that.
Yeah, I'm tracking IRC just in case any questions come in.
Okay, great. So Jim, can you maybe just give us like a 2-minute overview of the product?
Sure.
And things like that?
HP Helion OpenStack Community is our distro for OpenStack. It's a pure free to download. You can actually go download it at hp/helion/OpenStack. It is the first, or one of the first, distros available on Icehouse. It also integrates OOO for deployment, and also comes with HP's Linux OS. So it has quite a bit built into it, and is been a very popular subject here at the show. A lot of good feedback here at the event, and we're looking forward to putting out new versions and new releases of this, and continuing to improve on the product and expand its capabilities here in about 6-week cadences. So it'll always have the latest technology from OpenStack as part of it. And so when you're using it for evaluation or even for small production loads, you'll always be using the most recent technology available from the OpenStack community. So we're really pleased to have that, and to be able to bring that forward into the market, so that folks can really understand the capabilities of OpenStack and how it can play into the enterprise.
So Shiram, before we go on mute here so we can hear you, we have computers close to each other. Sorry about that, everyone here listening. I'm curious what you've seen. I haven't had a chance to really walk the floor as much as I had hoped yet. I'll ask Jim his thoughts, but I thought we'll go to you, Shahram. Is there anything that's stood out so far? I know you've been in a lot of operator sessions, and be curious to get some ideas of what you've seen, and so the listeners who aren't here can kind of get a feel for what's happening.
Sure. Two things. One, on the marketplace or the booths themselves, and second thing is from the sessions. The first feedback or first impression from walking through the marketplace or the booths are there's a ton of vendors here, ton of new faces here, a lot of new entrants and a lot of new players apart from the traditional or apart from the known players here. So I don't want to list everybody, but I saw a lot of new, relatively new entrance, which is great, because the more and more people come joining the community, and it also shows that more and more are taking a bet on OpenStack, which is good for both the community and the product. Also, to go with that is the OpenStack Foundation itself has opened an OpenStack marketplace, which is kind of which is a one-stop shop for all things OpenStack related, or all services OpenStack related, distributions, trainings, vendors, or SIs, consultants, anybody. So that's from the booths or the marketplace point of view. The second is mostly from the ops meetup or ops setup. So this is great because this is first-hand information from operators who are running a large-scale cloud, right? So and this, I was also focusing on the security part of it. So overall, some of the feedback, some of the questions I'm getting is need in or help in configuration management. What kind of config files they want to use, what kind of setups they want to use, those kind of help or guidance on that, and on drilling down on what issues the large-scale operators are facing. But one thing that I'm hearing is that it's no longer about question of running a large cloud. There are issues, there are difficulties, but more and more people are getting more ambitious and getting more courageous and successful in running large-scale OpenStack cloud. And the operators are coming here for the first time and giving feedback, hopefully which will get translated into more features that's going to enable them.
So thanks, Shahram. So I've asked Jim. He's sitting here, and it'd be a bit hard for him to say, what exciting things that weren't HP that you saw here. And so
the only exciting
things is HP. But of course, we want to be flexible. We want you to know we did try to get some people from other companies, and there's a chance that the man from Dell, Mr. Crowbar, Rob Hirschfeld, will be joining us soon, which would be fantastic if we could get Rob. And I also tried to get John Willis Bachikaloop. I'm still hoping to get him to show up. So don't feel that this is a pure HP thing. It's a good thing Shahram's here to keep us balanced, or else we'd all be in trouble. But what kind of things are customers coming up and talking to you about when they show up at the booth? What are the concerns that customers have about OpenStack? I think that's something new that we can start to really talk about.
I think the issue has always been for OpenStack, and of course I see it in some of those other vendors in the session titles and session abstracts, and some that I've sat through, and of course some of the things that I'm seeing on the show floor is all about OpenStack and their enterprise, and making sure that OpenStack is understood as an enterprise capable option for IT. And so along those lines, even within the HP booth, as I talk to folks about community, they're looking at community, again, for evaluation and development, as well as for those small scale production loads of up to 30 nodes or 600 VMs. And they're looking to say, well, what else can it do? What's the next step? When's it going to be fully scalable, and so forth? And so what I'm reminding them of is not only do we have the 30 nodes is what we're supporting. If you go beyond that, of course, but this is what it's really been tested and optimized for, is the 30 nodes and the 600 VMs. But we are going to we also support it to that point. So we do have an opportunity to buy support on a per node basis that also qualifies folks for indemnification, which is really exciting for a lot of folks. And it goes to underscore HP's commitment to. Oh, we have a visitor. To underscore HP's commitment to OpenStack and confidence in OpenStack. They are also talking about, of course, what's coming next, and I'm not at liberty to talk a great deal about some things that are on our roadmap, but I do know that in about a month's time we'll be beta-ing, if that's a word. Is that a verb?
Beta-ing?
We'll be putting out to beta. He baited, she baited, he baited, he will bait. We're going to be putting out in beta form a commercial product, which is HP Helium OpenStack. With no addition name to it, and that's going to be optimized for enterprises, and governments, and service providers, and is going to have the scalability, the multi-tenancy, and some of those things that are going to be expected out of a product of that type. But right now we've got the Disk Pro, and I think that it fits a really important niche in our market that our customers have been looking for, and so we're really pleased about that, and anxious for you to go out there and download the preview, and then the bare metal version also will be available in about a month's time.
So I was going to add from the keynote's perspective, one of the themes seems to be, and I don't know, I find this a strange comment, and I'm not sure I agree, and it'd be interesting, even Raphael, to hear what you think.
Let's get out of the way.
But the idea that, I believe it was a gentleman from Walt Disney, and his comment was that shadow IT is a good thing. It should be viewed as a positive, and you should use it as an opportunity. And it's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that shadow IT is good. Really curious, what do you guys think about this idea that shadow IT is good?
Yeah, I'll take a take on that one.
Yes.
It's interesting. There are two aspects to it, right? So when you say shadow IT, are you the CIO, are you the head of the organization who's facing the shadow IT issue, or are you someone who's enabling or going to help them moving from the shadow IT state to getting on cloud or getting on that whatever they're trying out, right? So if you're an enabler, if you're a consultant or an SI or a service provider, then shadow IT can really be a good thing because that's your entry point. Just like how people would say low cost is an entry point for getting into cloud, right?
Right.
So so that I think he's just putting a different spin on why is it, how is he viewing it. So as a consultant, as an enabler, I see shadow IT as an opportunity for me to get into the enterprise, to get into the organization, and get them on board into the solution.
I see it sort of similarly. I think anytime you've got shadow IT from a governance perspective is a problem. From a control perspective, it's a problem. But from a perspective of, as a marketer, anything that is going to disrupt the status quo is welcome to me. So I think that anyone from a shadow IT perspective, anything that drives questioning the status quo, anything that drives any sort of innovation is something that, if it can be managed, it should be welcomed. Otherwise, nothing moves forward, and it becomes very stagnated.
Great.
It's an opportunity.
One of the exciting things, well, I was going to introduce you first.
We need to know who you are.
So one of the, let me just peek in, but I'm here. One of the exciting things about doing the Meetup Live is that we can bring people in randomly. And so I have our first surprise guest. So this is Franklin Pert, who is a co-founder of a company called Gladinet. And Franklin, why don't you just real quick tell us what Gladinet does, and then we can get your perspectives on the conference and things like that. And so now everyone see it's not all HP. We're bringing other companies in.
Right.
And yeah, go ahead.
So I would say that we're a big beneficiary of shadow IT. I think shadow IT, these are the pitchforks of today, right? So it's how the little guys can drive innovation, right? So for us, that means, for example, in HP's case, right? A lot of HP employees have mobile devices, and they're pulling, or they may be putting HP content at risk by moving content through personal clouds like Dropbox. So HP IT was forced to develop their own private solution, right? And what we offer is the ability to have private Dropbox based on OpenStack. So enterprise files can share on top of OpenStack.
So great. So Franklin, one of the things we were just discussing was kind of the themes of the keynotes and stuff. I'm going to come back to it, but before that, just get your thoughts. You're on the second day here. Anything stood out that you're like, wow, that's really cool, or I didn't know that, or something's really changed? You've been to OpenStack Summits before?
No, it's my first one.
Your first one, okay.
Yes, in fact, yesterday I was wearing a suit.
Oh, yeah, so we did have to comment. He had a suit, so please don't. Oh, by the way, this is the official OpenStack T-shirt, in case you wanted to see. And it's not too bad. I also have the swag bag that you give you, and I can show you how lousy it is, so no one has to feel bad about missing missing it. We'll show you the swag, but okay, yeah. So that's your first time. What do you think? What did you expect? Is it what you thought?
I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the energy. The community seems energized. It seems like everyone's excited that they're part of something really innovative and on the cutting edge. I remember when we when we first added OpenStack Swift support. So at the time, our idea was, why we were wondering why are all our customers asking about backup? Why is the cloud all around backup? And we said, well, you know what? It's about trust, right? Nobody's ready to put all their, critical data through public clouds. So what we'll do is we'll do our sync and share thing, and we'll allow you to attach to any cloud, so you won't have vendor lock-in, yada yada yada, right? And it seemed like a good idea at the time. So anyway, so we started multiplexing through all these clouds, and of course it was, build once, because we had a smart platform, right? So the very thin interface was easy to add more support, but we were debugging everywhere, right? Of course, like the whole Java thing. Right. So anyway, we added OpenStack, and in months, there was so much more interest in OpenStack versus anything else. And it was because, we thought it was because, I still think it's because it addressed a lot of these concerns, right? Vendor lock-in, having deep knowledge out there so that no matter, you're not dependent on a single company and the knowledge base of that company, et cetera. So it's maturing very rapidly because of the open approach, So yeah, so it's really exciting to be here, to see it for real. We want to now I'm going to go back and get us involved as new super users.
Yeah, exactly.
So super users, yeah. So did you want to add? Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you tell everyone what a super user is? That's kind of the new term here, and there'll be a big poster print. They have these, I don't know, is it like caricatures of people out there as super users? Is that the right term?
Do you want to go ahead on that? Yeah. So I was actually before getting to super user, I was actually hinting or getting to concentrate towards the ops and monitoring part of it. I also saw a lot of energy around like enabling or how do you make DevOps easier, right? If you have noticed it, the Wells Fargo and the keynotes were like mentioning about agility. Sorry, Jonathan was mentioning about agility, and it's no longer a corner case for OpenStack. Like if someone wants to be more agile, someone wants to be faster, then OpenStack is the best way to make them faster, right? So along with that comes the solving the issues of DevOps complexity. Anything that makes your job easier, anything makes automation easier. So I saw like at least handful of startups here demoing their project, either doing something completely new or trying to mix with Chef and Puppet kind of offerings, and then basically enabling with workflow and helping with DevOps and automation easier. So that's kind of I see a push in this summit, apart from the earlier thing that we talked about.
For me, one of the big surprises was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to move the camera. I'm sorry. I'm the official cameraman. I've been on camera so much here, and for those of you who follow my YouTube videos from events or are used to my little flip camera, I have a full professional crew, so it will blow you away what the YouTube video looked like. And for some reason, they've decided I should be an anchor on them, and you're going to realize why you never saw me before, and HP will probably change who that person is. But anyway, I will do the camera here. Go ahead.
We should also do an official dance on Friday with the professional crew.
So one of the surprises for me was the new triangle, right? So we've all seen the fast, good, cheap triangle, right? And you only get to pick two. Everyone's heard that story as a developer, and so now that triangle's fast. That was the joke, right? So our success as a company was largely a result of our agility. We were we were in the realm of the right strategy, but we weren't dead on. But now we could change fast. So we just continually reacted to the market and kept going, making the right decisions because we were told what to do by the market. We're fast enough to react. So seeing how universal that's become, that was a surprise to me. Yeah.
So going back to the keynote, I did not see the keynote this morning. So Did anyone see the keynote this morning that can provide their feedback on what today was about? Or are we all bad people and missed it? Okay,
I
so, so I will say that I did come into the end of the keynote, and I saw Shuttleworth was showing some Ubuntu stuff, and they have new installers or whatever it is, so we're not shutting them out. Raphael, did anyone have any questions for us that you've seen, or should we just keep going with me?
You can keep going, guys. There are no questions yet on IRC.
Okay. Did you have any questions for us, Raphael? Anything that you've been thinking about that you might see happen here that may or may not have happened?
Any surprises, guys? Is there anything that has surprised you during the first days of the summit?
I have another one. So I was just in the there was a Ceph presentation, and it's pretty cool what they're doing with it. The surprise for me in that presentation was the price. So the University of Alabama was the use case that they gave, and they were able to deploy petabytes of storage for an effective cost of 41 cents a gig. I was like, whoa. I mean, that's almost, a public cloud. I mean, it's slightly more, not an order of magnitude more.
Yeah.
But I will add on, it's kind of funny with the ink tank guys because they all had red hat hats on last night, and so it's quite strange to see all the ink tank guys with red hat because now there've been just they were pretty much owned by the guy who owns DreamHost, right? Ink tank was. No, Red Hat bought them, but before the guy who owned DreamHost, I think, owned Ink Tank, and he sold them. So it's kind of funny because it was kind of like 10 for 15 person kind of company running around, and now all of a sudden they're part of Red Hat, and they've joined. And Red Hat does have a bit of a corporate. There's a corporate field with the thing. So I made it fun. So if you know the Ink Tank guys, it was fun to make fun of them with their Red Hat hats on. So
they still sound smart though. It hasn't worn off yet.
It hasn't. Have you had a chance to go? I don't know if either of you went to any of the Design Summit sessions with the coders today.
I haven't
Have you?
I'll be going this afternoon.
You'll be going. Okay. Now you went to the operators thing yesterday. Can you? I'm going to have Shriram pop back up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is again from the operator summit. That's why I tried to bring in the DevOps automation part or the startups that are trying to do that one. One thing that was consistently asked for is how do we make the configuration easier? There's a lot of code, there's a lot of hard-coded defaults in OpenStack. So the operator is finding it difficult, right? So ideally they would want totally configurable options, right? Either a config file, a JSON file, something to say what my size is, what my default timeout is, and tons of variables there. So that was a major ask. That was one of the major asks, and so kind of heading or extrapolating from that, right? So anything that will make their jobs easier is obviously they're going to prefer. And but you can only do so much. We can talk a lot. We can say everything could be like a push button or completely like automated, right? But anything that helps with their pain point is good. And I'm happy to see that there are vendors working specifically on that. This is along with any major provider that's doing any top level of abstraction, right? Like we have the abstraction layer on top of HP Helion, we have IBM Smart Cloud, and almost all the vendors have that abstraction there.
But you said there were 600 people signed up for this or something?
There were 600 operators signed up for that one.
Yeah.
They were not all along throughout the day, but in and out. But so we had different sessions. We had beginning with introduction to PTLs, then we were asking about defaults, there was security. Kind of a low-level, project-level, individual projects questions there, and then we're going to be talking more about the tools. Session on Chef, session on Salt, session on Puppet on Friday. That's when users will this is what I've been using Chef for. Or these are the issues I'm seeing with Chef or how Chef is doing. OpenStack is doing well with Chef or vice versa. This kind of feedback we can hear a lot on Friday.
So I think another thing I've noticed at this summit is I haven't heard anyone talk about where's the customers. I think even in Hong Kong it was kind of like there's sort of customers here, but we're not really sure if they're customers here. I think we've passed that point. Have we reached that where that day's over? Everyone's like, okay, there are now customers using this stuff. And my question is, when will the community begin to react in terms of how it builds its product as we move to Juno and stuff to actually understand that there's real customers, and it's not just kind of a engineering free-for-all.
It's no longer just cool.
It's no longer, yeah.
You're gonna lose its cool factor. People are gonna move on. That's not
I'm
good.
bored.
But
this is
I
actually
would
making
say
money
that's
now.
No.
yeah. So I'm curious your thoughts on
No.
that.
So I wouldn't really call that. I wouldn't want to say when are they going to start. In a way, OpenStack has already started doing that.
Mhm.
So we have committees, we have user committees. I mean, usually I would say until 2 releases ago, it's mostly developer driven and virtually no feedback from customers getting in. But for the past year or so, we've been doing relatively well on seeking the customer. It's not like a product manager that you would see, but it's not like customers talk to developers or someone you talk to developers and then they try to put that in. That goes through review process, that goes through the design cycle and everything. So there was a channel, and then it's getting more formalized now with the committees here. So I wouldn't really say when are we going to see that. We've already seen that happening. What could be happening now is that we're seeing a larger customer, so there could be specific features or specific areas that could come from large-scale deployments, anything that to do with large-scale deployments, or even projects that targeting that, right? So or even from the vendors who have been helping these large-scale deployments, anything that they think it's going to help. We made a significant improvement in orchestration. We had Salamander, we had Heat, and not just the core level, but the high level of abstractions. I wouldn't go into the level of Solom and PaaS kind of abstraction, but even then, not just the pure VM.
So Jim, do you think, I'll bring you back in because otherwise you'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
So Jim, do you think that a role of an HP as an example, and I'm asking this as a generic person, not HP, is to really take what our customers are saying back to us and bring it back to the community? And that's a role that HP will play, or IBM, or some of the bigger companies.
I think anybody who's going to be a good citizen of the community,
Mhm.
I think that is the role, right? That's the whole nature of open source, and contributing not just what is good for that particular organization, but actually making it relevant for the customer. And you can't. I mean, that's just marketing 101. You find out what the
Hey,
what the
I
pain
just
point
threw you a
offering-
softball
I
question
understand
and
it's a
trashed
softball,
me.
and I've got to
I
appreciate it.
step up my game in these questions.
Well, I have a question about this. So who is not doing that?
Yeah.
So my question is, so when you were talking, what I kind of heard, I mean, maybe I read too much into it, but I kind of heard was that, in a way, the reviewers and the review committees kind of end up serving the PM functionality in a sense, right? So correct that if it's wrong. But the other question around that is, related question is, as a software company, right? Eventually, you're going to get conflicting requirements. Big company A wants it one way, big company B wants it another way, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, one would think that as this thing matures, that's going to happen. You're going to have to start adding the switches, right? Which way you want to turn the knob?
It's already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's still the case. The first thing is it's not like the TC would act like a PM. Still, it's largely developer driven. The blueprints are submitted by the developers, but there's a larger forum for discussing that and how do you slip that one. But TC they have the process of like whether it's the project. If you're proposing a new project, like what is the incubation status? Are you graduating from incubation? Those kind of formal requirements over there. But the process still itself through the developer-driven blueprints going into that, getting reviewed, and that's where the checkpoints for, hey, vendor A is proposing something, vendor B is proposing something, what's going to win, right? That's really like battled out into blueprint design sessions, or essentially discussing. Blueprint is essentially like you expect. If you define this is the feature I want to implement, this is how I'm planning on implementing. So you talk about that. The developer would do that one. And typically in this design summit, like the next 4 days, there's tons of sessions like that. So if I'm a developer, I'm interested in doing something, or there's a need for doing something, I go propose that, and I get to discuss about that. And that's when like my peers would ask me questions. Anybody who has got stake in that is going to ask me, why are you doing it? Like, is there a better way of doing it?
So are all peers created equal, or are some peers more equal than others?
So all peers are equal. The core has the additional responsibility, authority, and review. So that's the if you are for every team for every team of developers, there's a set of people what we call core, project core, Nova core, Stiff core, Cinder core. The way it operates is that if you have been consistently contributing to that particular project, and then you are recognized as one of the top contributors, and you get into the core. And people have been like pure meritocracy there, and people have been like very democratic there, and like people will be very fair there and naturally get in. And if I'm a core and if I'm no longer able to contribute or being able to spend my time towards the responsibilities of the core, then I will get off from that, or I'll be asked to get off from there. And it's a very transparent process.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
There always is. What was the Animal House? All animals are equal, but some are more equal.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that in any organization. And one of the fun things with design sessions, if you get the right ones, you get fighting, and they yell at each other and throw paper. Those are the best. If you get those design sessions, those are very exciting to see. But you do get that. But one of the things that I think everyone tries to avoid is no one wants an either or in the code. No one wants okay, let's pound def. This is a HP OpenStack, or pound def. This is IBM OpenStack.
That doesn't happen.
I mean, it doesn't happen. I think the developers, for the most part, and it's quite interesting, I think that most developers, like OpenStack developers, if we look at HP, for example, like Monty Taylor and Devanandan and some of these guys, they tend to, their focus is OpenStack.
Yeah.
Their focus really isn't building products for HP. They have a different view, and it's almost like now not everyone at HP has that, but when you think of the major OpenStack core developers for companies, I think you find that more they're just kind of open source OpenStack developers, and the different companies employ them as a way to contribute.
And it's good that the organizations have come together and understood that that's the role. Because I think it's very easy to corrupt that too. To your earlier question about what exactly is the role of the company and the citizens within the community, and it's important that the major contributors into the organizations understand what that role is, and to be a little bit kind of a little bit of a walled garden and keep their fingers out of that pie.
But yeah, you do want to go to the best design sessions, and when they yell and scream at each other, and that's
No, he's
that's
just,
the
he's
fun.
just making up.
We're making
Big fan of reality television over here, I think.
Hold on.
There's one thing that, having said all, but it is only natural that if you have a bigger company, if you have lot number of resources, it's very natural that you'll be contributing more. And so if you have more things to code for your sake or something that comes from a customer, then you have more chance of doing that one. Everything goes through the process, but just that you have more resources to get it done. And that's something that I've been observing as someone looked into code contributions and over the trend over the past releases. That happens quite a lot, and it's that's expected.
$1 one vote.
but I mean, even some of the guys who work for the smaller companies, I think they're all pretty. I think they're all pretty good about that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're open source. People get it, and if they aren't, they're booted. I mean,
yeah.
But there is an Infosys Design Summit session that was the best yelling summit, and just a quick bit of history. At the Design Summit in the first one that we did, so it was the Cactus Design Summit in California, and at the San Jose or Santa Clara Marriott or whatever it was. At the time, there was a group of developers that wanted to stop using Launchpad, and there was a group of developers that wanted to move everything to GitHub. And for those of you who were there, it was almost like the Civil War went on, and there was a complete hour of people yelling back and forth at each other, and in the end, nothing was decided. And Terry, that's all right, Terry walked out of there and was like, I'm just going to do what I want. And it's interesting to this day that the cause they couldn't make that decision, the community uses GitHub to store the code, but still uses Launchpad for the blueprints and everything. So in case you're curious, why do we have two separate systems that don't talk running this? It's because at that particular meeting, a decision couldn't be made. And it's quite interesting to see those things.
We keep hearing about that. We want to move everything to GitHub. Can we use GitHub for blueprints? We still talk about it.
It's still an argument.
It's such a pain to move everything Launchpad now to GitHub, so we won't do that.
We won't do it. So, did you guys have anything else? I think, Raphael, unless you have any questions, I think we've yapped for almost 45 minutes, and hopefully the viewers who aren't here got kind of a sense of what's going on. And my plan is later this week to do a podcast, and I haven't set the time up for that to get that out, but we'll do kind of a wrap-up thing. Definitely with Sharam, and we'll see what Franklin's around and try to grab some more people. And I had hoped we'd get Rob Hirschfeld. He was here.
Yeah.
We threw him out of the room, but then we promised to bring him back in.
I want to chime one thing
Yeah,
on
sure.
the use cases or money part, right? Yes, definitely that's big thing here. No, I didn't hear anybody asking for where are the customers. It's more like how much money are we talking about? And there have been cases like multi-million dollars that came out on news, so it's not surprising anymore. So it's definitely we are seeing a lot of traction, and I'm very positive that we'll see more and more traction.
Okay. Well,
Great.
Raphael, we're going to sign off unless you have anything else for us here.
Nope. Thank you very much, guys. And have a great time in Atlanta.
Thank you.
Yeah, because there's just nothing like Atlanta, Georgia. Just like
Maybe Savannah.
Savannah's nice.
Savannah's.
All right. Thanks again. Take care, everyone. And,
All right.
and real quick, Raphael, do we have another meetup set up for 2 weeks? Or